Hello and welcome to DebV. Today I'm going to do Urban Threads YinYang Sleeping Cat's Circle. It is an adorable design. I did buy it in this size, the 4.87 by 4.85. I'm going to call it a 5-inch. Mostly because I was thinking about putting it on a coaster. You know, let's pop this open. So this is the smallest size, and they have up to a little over 7 3/4 square, and you can get one 7-inch and 6-inch and 5-inch basically. And as with the other designs, it has a color sheet. You just click this thread spool. Error display. Oh, that's my computer. I've actually got quite a bit going on in the background. Poor little thing. It can't cope no more. Let me try one more time. There we go. Right. So, and again, it shows your color changes, but you see how there's 8 changes, only 7 colors used. You can download just a text file. And you can, of course, where is it? Thread exchange. So you can choose to say, I'm going to use Robertson Anson. This is what I have. Foo-Foo. Foo-Foo Floriani. You know, blah, blah, blah. And tell it to search for threads. This one didn't happen to post anything, but again, it's probably my computer. Oh, there we go. See? It was. Poor thing. I'm transferring video from my phone in the background. And even though, I mean, when I bought this computer, it wasn't too bad. But it does only have 16 gigs of RAM, and whereas, you know, at one time it was considered a lot. Windows 11 alone, really, they say it needs 8, and no, it needs 16 to chug along. If you use Microsoft Office, I would recommend 32 gigs nowadays, at minimum. I was looking at a laptop with 32 gigs, and I kept thinking, you know, in another year I'm going to be sorry I bought that, because this computer's only I want to say a year and a half, 18 months, and I usually try to buy one that's got, you know, a little more than what I actually need at the time, so it'll last 3 or 4 years. They never seem to. Oh well, times change, technology keeps bypassing us, and this is life. I would rather have the computer than not. But as you can see, if you have a multiple range of threads that you carry, and I do, and you're wanting to match them up, it is possible to find one, each one of these colors have it in something, as you can see. But this is how their site functions when I open it up anyways. My most important part, and yeah, it's not on sale right now, or at least I don't have a sale code. They do have sales quite often, but they'll do it on different items. You know, when the cats were on sale, that's when I bought this, and I'm sure it'll be on sale again, or they may have sent you a code. I don't know. I do know that their designs stitch out so nice. Sorry about the whistle. See, this is what happens when you end up with not your original teeth and you drop them on a tile floor. They break and you never show your face again. But their designs do stitch out beautifully. If you watched my previous video of an Urban Threads, then you saw how well that stitched out with the don't get snippy. And this one, you will see in the video that it stitches out beautifully also. I am actually planning to put this in the middle of a t-shirt because I love cats. I may change my mind though. Who knows? But like I said, I did purchase it so that I could put it in the middle of a maybe I will just design a round coaster big enough for it. We will see. But let's get on to the next part. I'm going to shrink this down and hopefully, no, wrong screen. There we go. Like I said, I have to use my phone now, so I have to plug it into my computer and transfer it. I did buy a thumb drive that has the USB-C on one end, hoping I could dump it from my Samsung onto that and then just use that. And every time I try to put it into another file on a different drive, it just says can't copy here and won't even open it up so that there's a dialogue. I don't know what I'm doing wrong or if they just don't allow it, but I've been trying for a year and I've not figured it out, so we'll just leave it at that. So we've got it up and embroidered. This is a 5x7 hoop that I used, and the whole thing fits real well into the 5x7. I'm going to stitch it up on one layer of cutaway. I do want to tell you right now, the one I did with the Don't Get Snippy, what I didn't think about was when I wash it, that t-shirt is made out of cotton and it's going to shrink in between because, you know, I'm old and senile and I just don't think ahead, I guess. Well, I can't blame that on senility because I've always been like that. Just the way I am. But what I did was iron it, and I took some soft iron-on interfacing and ironed it on the back around that design. I wanted something lightweight. I used a lightweight iron-on interfacing. Ironed it as smooth as I could get it, and then ironed that onto the back. And thus far it's held up very well, but to be honest, I wore it to the store and took it off because it's really flipping cold out again. So it hasn't even been washed again because it was only on my body for a short period of time, so I hung it up. But it looks beautiful with that iron on. But for this one, I've decided I better go ahead and use some cutaway, and what I have is a medium weight. It's really not that stiff. I'm using one layer, and this should work out okay. I'm going to cut it as close to the design as possible when finished, so it should be beautiful. Over here you can see your different steps, and when you click on it, I had said before the wrong name. I said Enthusiast. I have Embroillance Essentials. I am so sorry for having misspoke. It works sufficiently for what I'm using. I have a different program if I decide I want to do any heavy editing or create a design. So the first part it's going to stitch out is the white, and of course you can use any colors you want, and it goes through. There is, I think I only used 6 colors. I think that's what I've got over there, 6 colors. But let's get into the stitching, okay? And I will see you over there.
It's actually taped to the back of this because it was a piece that happened, a scrap, and it didn't fit in the hoop. So I hooped this and taped the edges to hold it in place because it's a thin fabric, so it wants to slide. I use double-sided tape for a lot of stuff. Just letting you know, it comes in so handy, and it's usually not too hard to get off. If you just keep rubbing at it with your finger, it'll start to roll up, and if you get enough of it, I can usually grab it with my fingernails and pull and get it in one strip if I haven't let it sit too long. Otherwise, alcohol works great for taking off adhesive. At the beginning of this video, there should have been an intro on the computer to show you. If not, because I'm kind of going through a flare-up right now and I happen to be having a good moment. So I'm going to try and get this stitched out. It takes 34 minutes just in stitch time, so this may not work out well for me, but we're going to give it a shot. I have high hopes. If not, it'll be broken up, and the worst that'll happen is you'll see different sleeves. So the first color is white. Very strange. White. Oh, 8 minutes. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong spot. So let me get, that pulled through. I had done the other side, but I hadn't pulled it through yet. I really got to get that thing fixed. It's still taped into place. Okay. So put down, and this first part is 8 minutes. And yes, it will be sped up at least 3 times, 2.5 to 3 times. I tend to do that in the stitching parts if it's longer than a minute or so, just to help in the brevity. I talk a lot. Hopefully you guys enjoy the talking. If you don't, just say so below. I do cut out a lot of the talking because I jabber. I can't help it. I just talk more than I should. I always have. And it's starting with white. Okay, I'm sure you saw my hand going in and out, and that was because I can't decide on the nose color. Their noses are, I don't know how to describe, but anyhow, I'm being very picky, so I keep changing back and forth. Now, The next color is gray. I have gray and dark gray, right? Let's see. It calls for deep gold for the tabby. Gray. Okay, there it is, dark gray. So this is, well, a medium gray that I'm going to use now. I decided on a pink for the nose and the pads. I had finally found my mauve, and I was going to use that. That's what I usually use for, I love cats, so I have a lot of cat patterns. And that's the color I usually use, but I've decided it wasn't quite bright enough because the colors on it, I mean, other than the gold, this is pretty sedate. So this little bit of gray is only 1 minute. Now I need to keep that gray handy because it does get used again. And remember, this is the colors I chose. You can choose different colors. It's your stitch out. You can use whatever colors you want. You could stick with the blues that is showed in the pattern. What it is the interpretation from the color chart that they used to the color chart I used. So the system, the software says this is the closest match. And I didn't, oh, let's pull the thread through. I guess I should have gone ahead and pulled theirs out and and saw what they were using in the first list. I didn't even check it. I don't remember having checked it. I just wasn't concerned. Maybe when I do the intro. Yeah, oh my goodness. That's going to be a long tail. That's all right. Now, this section is 3 minutes stitch time on my machine. I don't forget, I use a Baby Lock Flourish too. Its top speed is 850, which is pretty standard. The thing is that different machines slow down for different stitch. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. But 3 minutes is what it says. I want to try and get, because I had such a long tail and it's caught up in the foot. Here we go. Trying to keep my head out of the way. Sorry if it was there. I won't know until I edit. The next color is also an 8-minute stitch out. It calls for, on my chart, the dark gray. The black cat, it's going to have black, for the shadows and all that. So you want to use something at least a couple of shades off from your shadows and such. I'm using dark gray. All right, I've switched back to the lighter shade of gray. It's still not a light gray. I'm using a medium one. Please excuse my voice. My allergies have really kicked in. We finally have broken 50 here in Southeast Michigan. Yesterday it was 64, but it was the eclipse. And when that sun went behind the moon, I live by the water. So it's cooler here anyways. So even though they were saying 64, we were really more like 59. And it must have dropped like 10 degrees, boom, when that thing started covering it. So, our warmest part of the day was cold. And I, like a fool, sat in my swing with my head tilted back for like 20 minutes watching it and went, oh my God, I'll never last 2 hours. So I went back out when it was like 1 minute before it fully covered and watched it cover, watched it for another minute or so, and went in the house. But it was, I figured the last one in my lifetime, even if, well, at least visible in my area, even if I'm still alive, which I plan to be, in 44, I'm going to live to 99. I don't know what to tell you. I figure not 100, that sounds old. Anyhow, with as fast as my body seems to be pooting out on me, I may not be able to sit outside with my head tilted back watching So, nobody will want to wheel my chair out there. I wanted to make sure I saw this one. It just seemed important to me. I don't know why. Must have seemed important to a lot of people because we had to drive across town to take the cat to the vet for her shot, and something that normally takes me like 12 minutes took me 30 minutes. Everybody thought, oh, we're going to Luna Pier. Okay, morons. Luna Pier is a tiny little community, and they had this one bridge under construction, and the mayor literally said, don't come here. Even news crews showed up. He stated on national news and the internet, they posted it everywhere. If we have too many people come to Luna Pier, you will destroy our bridge. It's under construction. And they showed up anyways. They lined our highway up right outside of my subdivision. It was tremendous. And I'm thinking, why? You can see it right from your yard. We're in a prime zone. There was one tiny little sliver that didn't get covered. Good enough. I don't know. It's almost like they just don't think it through. Maybe, 2,000 people had too many trees in the yard to see it. I don't know. All I know is they jammed this town up every way. If the nuclear power plant would have melted down, we'd have never got out. Of course, that's a joke anyway. If it melts down, you're already contaminated by the time you find out. So, you're gone. All right. Please excuse the snuffling and let's start. I was jabbering on again. 1 minute. All right. I am on thread count 6, in the chart, I should say. And that I have switched to black. So it's going to start putting in the shadows and details, that kind of thing. We're going to do a portion of the black. Then we do the nose, inside of the ears, the pads on the paws, that kind of a thing, the pink. And then we'll go back to black to finish it up. You do not have to use black, but you're going to want it to stand out. So make sure that it's at least 2 to 3 shades darker than the darkest color you've used thus far, is my recommendation. All set, ready to go. This is going to be a 2-minute stitching. We're on the home stretch, but it actually is the bulk of the minutes. It's going to be doing the what it calls for salmon, the inside of the ears, the nose, the pads of the paws. It takes 3 minutes on my machine. So let's go ahead and get started. And while I had it stopped, I went ahead and did a couple of trims, only to find out that someone had used my scissors like to pry or something, I think. I got my money's worth. They're 20 years old, at least. So, but yeah, I was a little bummed. Oh, look. Stop. So you always want to pull the little lever. Shoot. No, don't do it. Let's. No. Now it's all messed up. Come on. There we go. Go to my screen. Minus, plus, plus. Oh, no. Okay. Now I've got my needle threaded. So we're going to do the inside of the ears, the nose, the pads of the paws. In the pattern called for salmon, I actually have a hot pink in because my salmon was, I don't know, I didn't feel it looked right. So, well, it's not hot pink, but it's like a Barbie pink. I just couldn't find a pink I was happy with. Oh, I keep doing that. Let's get it started. 3 minutes stitch out time. Okay, so this is it thus far, and I'm not enjoying that pink, so I think I have a light, see, that's my problem. I'm going to change my color for my t-shirt, I think. For one thing, it's a lighter gray. Yes, I'm gonna go with probably the mauve that I normally use. But I heard my bobbin jump, which for me, it means that it's starting to get low. The next stitch, part of the stitch out, is 8 minutes long, and I have what, 600, no, I'm sorry, 6,100 stitches kind of a thing to go. So I'm gonna pause you here, change my bobbin. I think I'll slap a black in. It's going to be black thread. I need to use those up. I never think to use them. I always grab a white one. So I'm going to get that done and I will be back. Okay, let's try and get this last color stitched out. It has been a while, I will admit it, but we're going to get it done. Okay, looks like it's all done. Oh, I do like that. Now see, this cat looks more gray than black. On my screen, it was showing it so much darker. But that's your computer screen. You know, we know how that goes. I like it like this, but the shirt I'm putting it on is gray. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I do hope you enjoy the stitch outs. If I'm ever up to it, I will do a sewing video. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.